film begins with a very sad scene in ancient China. At that time, there's a lot of fighting because everyone wants to be the new ruler after the old emperor dies. One prince, named Qi, is the oldest and he really wants to be the new emperor. He doesn't want anyone else to have the throne. So, he does something terrible. He kills the prince who was supposed to be the next emperor and all of his supporters. He even attacks the capital city with his soldiers. But before the prince dies, he says something scary to Qi. He says that Qi won't be able to get rid of his children. A month later, Qi is still worried about what the prince said. Then his helper Zheng tells him that the prince had a baby. According to the rules, this baby could grow up to be the next emperor. When Qi hears this, he tells Zheng to kill the baby and anyone who is still loyal to the dead prince. Meanwhile, there's a man named Tian Anya, who sells charcoal to make a living in a tough and poor environment. He's always with Uncle Xiao, who is like a father to him. The next day, they head to town to sell their load of charcoal. It's winter, so people need charcoal to keep warm, but to sell in town, they have to pay a fee. The customs officers ask for 100 kilograms of their charcoal as a deposit. This makes Uncle Xiao very angry. The following day in the kingdom, there's an event happening too. Young Tong is being made the new emperor. He's just a child, so Qi makes him a puppet emperor to control him easily and avoid arguments with ministers who follow the old laws. After Young Tong became emperor, the ministers asked him to build a tomb for the soldiers who died in the civil war, but Qi didn't like this idea. He told Young Tong not to agree. One minister disagreed with Qi, so Qi had him killed for rebelling. Soon after, the soldiers took the minister to the city hall, chained him up, and executed him. They wanted everyone to see what happens if they oppose Qi. Meanwhile, Tan is having dinner and resting. He suddenly sees a vision of a black camel, reminding him of his troubled past. At the same time, Uncle Xiao, who is a fortune teller, tries to see his own future. He predicts bad luck coming his way. Then, as Tian and Uncle Xiao were preparing to leave, a woman asked for their help to escape from soldiers sent by Qi. It turns out she's Nilinger, the mother of the baby prince. Feeling sorry for her, Xiao agrees to help. They manage to trick the soldiers and hide Nai in a hut. Chan tries to treat her wounds, but when Nai's baby cries, the soldiers find them and shoot arrows at the hut. Soon after, the soldiers break in and surround them. There, Tan fights back using a scarf and hot charcoal. Meanwhile, a mysterious woman watches the fight. At the same time, Zheng tells Qi that his soldiers were defeated. He suspects Tian isn't just a charcoal seller, but a skilled commander who once defeated thousands of soldiers. But there, Qi doesn't care. He just wants Nai and the baby prince killed, and anyone who stands in his way must be eliminated. On the other hand, Chen and his friends were trying to leave the city, but royal soldiers stopped their charcoal cart. Luckily, the soldiers only wanted to buy charcoal. However, Uncle Xiao didn't want to sell because the baby prince was hidden in the cart. So Nai lied and said someone else ordered the charcoal. While they fooled the soldiers, another mysterious woman watched them. Eventually, Tian and his friends escaped the royal area. They decided to rest and eat before continuing their journey. Soon after, Nai thanked them for protecting her baby. Then, while Nai put her son to sleep, Uncle Xiao wondered why they were being chased by royal troops. They didn't know that her son was the heir to the throne. At that time, Uncle Xiao had a bad feeling about the baby, but Chen asked him not to worry. The next day, Tin gave Nai some coins and urged her to leave the city quickly before the royal troops came back. But just as they were about to part ways, a mysterious woman named Qin Gu appeared with her soldiers. She revealed that she was a warrior who served the late crown prince. She explained that Nai's baby was the rightful heir to the throne. Before he died, the crown prince asked Qin Gu to escort Nai and her son out of the city. After scouting, Qin Gu believed Tian was the right person to help because he knew the city well. At first, Chen refused to help, saying he was just a charcoal trader. But Uncle Xiao convinced him otherwise. Then they agreed to help Nai and her baby and found refuge in an inn. While they rested, Uncle Xiao played the flute, which amazed Nai. He explained that the flute was a gift from his late son who died in battle, and he played it whenever he missed him. At night, Zheng got a report about where the baby prince was. At the same time, Tian knocked on his door to sell charcoal. Zheng's men came out to talk business, but Tian had a different plan. He wanted to warn Zheng to stay away from the baby prince. If Zheng didn't listen, Tian threatened to fight him and his soldiers. After that, Tian asked Uncle Xiao to take Nai and the baby away secretly. Tian planned to lure Zheng's troops to the inn. Then he gave Uncle Xiao a special plaque to help him on the journey. Soon after, Zheng's troops surrounded the inn. Tian quickly made smoke to cover the building. After inviting Qin Gu to fight alongside him, Tian and Qin Gu easily defeated Zheng's troops. During the fight, Tian noticed Qin Gu's wooden mirror had fallen and got damaged. To show his gratitude, Tian offered to fix it. While repairing it, Tian was surprised to see the name Bo Yang carved on it, which was actually Qi's real name. Before Qin Gu could be suspected, she quickly took the mirror back. Soon after, her men reported that Nai and Uncle Xiao had disappeared. Afterward, Qin Gu patted Tian on the shoulder and asked where they were. Tian pretended not to know, even though he had instructed Uncle Xiao where to go earlier. But before he could leave, he suddenly fainted. Qin Gu had drugged him when she patted him on the shoulder. Meanwhile, Uncle Xiao and Nai were trying to reach the city border. They encountered a large soldier with a sword who attacked them. Soon after, they hid in the horse stables as Zheng's troops approached. There, Uncle Xiao told Nai to find someone named Bao Zilong in South City. Then, Uncle Xiao decided to sacrifice himself to distract the soldiers. The next day, Tin woke up and hurried to find Uncle Xiao, only to discover him being tortured by Zheng. At that moment, Zheng promised to release Uncle Xiao if Tian handed over Nai and her baby. Hearing that Tian refused, and Zheng finally revealed Tian's true identity to Uncle Xiao. Soon after, Zheng's right-hand man revealed that Tian was a former commander of the Modo troops who survived a deadly battle. He had hidden his identity because he regretted killing Uncle Zhou's son. Tian had been forced to kill Uncle Zhou's son to save the city's citizens, although the exact reason wasn't clear. At that time, Uncle Xiao was deeply disappointed upon hearing this confession. Zheng used Uncle Zhou's grief to manipulate him into seeking revenge. He even gave Uncle Xiao a sword to kill Tian. However, Uncle Xiao turned the sword towards Zheng instead. There, Zheng dodged the attack and stabbed Uncle Xiao. Before dying, Uncle Xiao urged Tian to help Nai and her baby to prevent the kingdom from facing a grim future. Later, Tian regained his strength and fought back. Despite controlling the fight, he was troubled by memories of Uncle Xiao. Soon after, Zheng attacked him, and Tian was captured and taken to the royal prison. At that time, Zheng wanted to torture him until he revealed where Nai and her baby were, but Shen refused to betray them even under torture. Meanwhile, Qin Gu safely escorted Nai to the southern city. There, they met Bao Zilong, an acquaintance of Tian and Uncle Xiao, who offered them shelter and rest. Back in the city, Nai worried about Tian and Uncle Xiao. Qin Gu sadly informed her that Uncle Xiao had been killed by Zheng. While they talked, Qin Gu's men reported that Tian had been imprisoned by the royal guards. Nai felt guilty for involving Tian in their troubles. Back in the prison, Zheng used a blunt knife to inflict more pain on Tian, but Tian remained fearless. The next day, Qin Gu informed Bao Zilong about the torture Tian endured. Bao Zilong felt deeply saddened and saw it as his chance to repay Tian's kindness on the battlefield. Meanwhile, Qin Gu's drunken men entered the house and tried to harass Nai, accidentally referring to her as a sacrificial offering. Then, Qin Gu and Bao Zilong heard the commotion and rushed to rescue her. Once safe, Nai asked Qin Gu why he called her an offering. Qin Gu confessed that she intended to use Nai and her baby as bait to lure out Qi. It's revealed that Qin Gu comes from Nai's hometown and holds a personal grudge against Qi for the suffering he's caused the residents. Feeling desperate, Nai threatened to do something extreme if Qin Gu didn't save Tian. She knew Tian was the only one who could stand up against Qi and his men. Meanwhile, in prison, Zheng and his men continued torturing Tian. This time, they hammered nails into his hands, but Tian remained unwavering. Soon after, Zheng received a call from Qi, and he left the prison. Alone again, Tan saw the shadow of a black camel, a reminder of his guilt towards Uncle Xiao. He took it as a sign that he shouldn't die without resolving his guilt. With determination, he removed the nails, fought back, and killed all the guards with help from Qin Gu and Bao Zilong. Soon after, they escaped in a horse-drawn carriage. Despite his injuries, Tan knew he needed to recover before facing further danger. Meanwhile, Zheng's right-hand man, Liu, aimed an arrow at them, but didn't shoot. In the palace, Qi asked Zheng about the progress of his mission. He was anxious that the baby hadn't been found. To motivate Zheng, he promised to promote him to a general if he succeeded in killing the baby. But Qi's mood changed when Liu reported that Tan had escaped from prison. Qi was furious with Zheng and immediately demoted him, giving his position to Liu. Meanwhile, Bao Zilong watched over Tian as he woke up. Mei gave Tian some stamina-enhancing pills to help him recover quickly. She also gave him Uncle Xiao's flute in memory of his death. Chan then asked Qin Gu if she was on Qi's side, as he had seen Qi's name in her mirror. Qin Gu admitted that Qi was her biological father. However, Qi had caused her mother's death and killed the crown prince, whom she deeply respected. Despite being related by blood, Qin Gu was determined to seek revenge against Qi. Soon after, they continued their journey to a temple to perform a ritual to protect the baby. However, Nai was worried that Qin Gu might actually use the baby as bait. Then, while Nai prepared for the ritual, Chen opened a chest brought by Bao Zilong. Inside, he found his old war equipment from when he was a commander. Shortly after, he put on his armor and practiced using his sword. Suddenly, Qin Gu entered the room and was surprised to find the baby crown prince missing. She rushed to the back door and found an old woman acting suspiciously. The old woman tried to take the baby, but Qin Gu stopped her. It turned out the old woman was working with Nai to protect the baby from being used for revenge against Qi. Tian then appeared and quickly took the baby back, returning it to Nai. There, Tian warned Qin Gu to stay put, threatening to harm her if she moved. But Qin Gu wasn't afraid and attacked Tian. After a brief fight, Tian, now recovered, managed to knock Qin Gu unconscious. At that moment, Nai quickly asked the old woman to take the baby to safety. And then Tian and the residents turned the area into a fortress, preparing to defend against the royal troops instead of attending the ceremony. Meanwhile, Liu received a report about Tian and Nai's location and mobilized his troops to surround them. Before the battle, Chan asked Bao Zilong to leave for safety, but Bao Zilong refused, wanting to repay his debt. As the troops prepared for battle, Tian entrusted Uncle Zhou's flute to Nai and promised to protect the kingdom and the baby. Soon after, Liu and his troops arrived at their location. There, Liu demanded that Chan and his friends surrender, but Bao Zilong began beating a drum, signaling the start of the war. At the same time, Qin Gu woke up and protected Nai, while she performed a ritual to protect her baby, despite arrows from Liu's troops raining down on them. Meanwhile, tragedy struck Bao Zilong. While others fought, he sacrificed himself by detonating dynamite in the hall. Tian then faced Liu in combat. After a fierce battle, Tian managed to wound Liu with his sword. He then checked on his friends, but sadly, only Nai survived. As he mourned, Zheng appeared, challenging Tian to a fight. They both prepared their swords, and the battle was intense. Despite Zheng's efforts, Qin proved to be stronger and ultimately defeated him with a lethal blow. The following day, Tian went to the palace alone and swiftly attacked Prince Qi with Qin Gu's sword, seeking revenge for Qin Gu's incomplete vengeance. However, Yang Tong was also in the room. Tan then urged the future emperor to make wise choices, now that he was no longer under influence. A few days later, Yang Tong's coronation took place. Following Tian's advice, Yang Tong implemented fair policies for his people. Meanwhile, Tian, Nai, and their son decided to leave the royal territory. Along the way, they discovered an official royal scroll hidden with the baby. The scroll revealed a decree from the late crown prince, ensuring the baby's rightful place as king in the future. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is just because you're a charcoal seller doesn't mean you can't kick some royal butt and save the day. And remember, always check under the baby's blanket, cause you might find a surprise decree for a future king.